Good day, guys. So every business out there, they embark on a cloud journey, right? With an excitement that they want to access all the innovative services which can put them ahead of the game, right? But here's the thing: with every digital transformation, there are three different pillars: people, process, and technology. From people's perspective, the skill set that the customers have today are way too different from that of what's going to be there in the cloud. Same goes to the processes. Things are very different in on-premises, the way we manage day-to-day operations and everything, versus what's happening in the cloud. And from technology's perspective, we already know that's very different. So VMware Cloud on AWS is that bridge which can help customers move from on-premises into the cloud. So once you understand what's the value proposition of VMware Cloud on AWS, the next logical step is to understand how much capacity do I need in the cloud. So my name is Karim, and for the next 10 minutes or so, I'll be talking about this very specific step. So this can be easily done in 4 different steps. The sizing in cloud is a bit different. You, for example, don't build stuff, you consume it over time. So in VMware Cloud on AWS, we consume software-defined data center as a service, right? So the first step is basically to understand the context of an application. The second step is where we understand what sort of data is to be collected. The third step is to understand the sort of tools to be used to gather all the data. And the last step is to understand how do I actually migrate into the cloud. So let's look at these steps briefly. So in the first step, the first thing that I need to do is look at the bigger picture, understand my existing current as-is environment. We need to look at the context of an application, like is it workloads running in test and dev? Are these only DR sites, or their databases? Because the consolidation resources for test and dev or DR can be a lot different from that of production. Also, for the compression and deduplication ratios would be a lot different for databases, right? So understanding this context is very important. The next step is to understand which workloads to be moved into the cloud first. This is also very important. This is generally driven by the business itself. So we need to look at our kettles versus the pets. Kettles are my workloads, which are basically does not require a lot of attention. So these are my web servers, say web server 28. One of the web server can go down and I can spin up a new one easily. These can be low-hanging fruit, which I can move quickly into the cloud. My pets are the ones which are really customized application. I need to take very special attention and care of them once I move them into the cloud. The other thing I need to look at is my security and compliance. So are there any licensing requirements once I move into the cloud? Do I have them covered in the context of once I move into the cloud? So these are the important considerations, and this will drill down my workloads which need to be sized up into the cloud. The last part is my migration roadmap. So I need to understand, when do I need to be into the cloud? Is it 1 week? Is it 1 month? Is it 1 year? So if I have to be in cloud in 1 year, then I don't have to buy everything upfront, right? So I just need to look at those workloads which need to be there in the cloud today. We also need to look at data considerations. So a lot of workloads which are storage hungry, we can actually move them into native AWS services, things like S3, my EFS, etc. So once we do that, we move into the next step. That's what sort of data to be collected. So we need to drill down the number of workloads that we have finalized. We need to look at the resources from compute, RAM, and storage perspective, also the network perspective. From storage, this is really important for us to understand not only the provisions storage, but also what is actually being consumed. And if we can somehow find out the IOs which are required by that particular application, that would be great. So let's move to the step number 3. So once I understand the context and what sort of data to be collected, I need to understand what sort of tools do I have. So there are a number of sets of tools that I can use here. The first set of tools that you see here are basically tools which will help you collect all the data. So you can use RB tools. So a lot of my customers are using RB tools today. You can gather the data from there, extract this data which we have looked at as step number 2, and put that into VMC Sizer, for example, to find out the number of nodes that I need. We can also have a look at VROps. So a lot of customers are already using VROps. So this is the preferred tool because this will give you a historical perspective as well. So if there were some bursts in the past, you can take them under consideration as well. The other key thing from VROps perspective, which is also important, is that you can right size the workloads before you actually move them into the cloud. Another tool here is, for example, live optics. You can use them. It's a tool from Dell. A lot of community support is out there, so you can actually use them as well. So once you have all the data, the next step is to actually find out if there is any application dependency. So you don't want to leave your workloads, which are talking to another workload, and one of the workloads, for example, your web layer is moved into the cloud, or your application is moved into the cloud, which is frequently talking to your database, and you're not aware of that, or any other application. So tools like application real-life network insight can help you find out that dependency or the network traffic between the two different tiers, right? So the third set of tools here is to help you do the actual sizing and cost estimation. So we can use vRealize Business for Cloud. It's a quick tool that you can deploy within existing vCenter, and it can give you quick cost estimation and actually the number of nodes as well. Plus, you can extract all the data from the tools that I've just mentioned and put them as an input into VMC Sizer. So the links to all these tools are available here. The last step here is, once you're done with the gathering all the context, understanding the data, and gathering the actual data, you need to understand how do I, and you've already done the sizing with VMC Sizer or VRBC. Now you need to see how do I actually move or migrate into the cloud. So these are a few resources I wanted to share with you. The first one here is actually Cloud Migration Planning Tool, Planning White Paper. The link is available. This will give you a very detailed context of what sort of applications from business or technology perspective you should be looking into to move into the cloud first. And once you have that understanding, it also talks about the various tools I've just spoken about. So just go have a look at that document. The second one is actually the tool that we use. So it's a SaaS service from VMware. It's called HCX. Yesterday we saw at vForum Australia that we demonstrated that we can move a bulk of VMs live into the cloud. So you can actually move thousands of VMs all live into the cloud. Depending on your migration strategy, you can use HCX to move live or as a cold migration into the cloud from on-premises into VMware Cloud and AWS. The last thing here is, once you are into the cloud, you need to understand how do I do day-to-day operations. They are not much different, but you want to understand what are the things I need to take care of. So preparing for VMware Cloud on AWS is the last white paper I wanted to share a link of. So that's it from my side, guys. Thanks a lot for your time, and have a good day. Bye-bye.